Yeah. Don't mind me sweating profusely.
We were just wondering how hot that is, how hot your gear is.
It's pretty thick cotton, so yes, it's pretty warm. I'm glad the sun's not out.
Yeah.
All right, I don't see. Oh,
You see the people.
Oh, I see Josh.
There he is. He's in his burrito, but he's not sleeping.
All right, I'll get started. You can pan over here. Hold it. Okay. Down. Here, wait a little bit more.
I don't know if they have.
Okay, maybe up a little bit. So, we're gonna have. So this is so the students and everybody that's coming on. We are going to be recording this. So if you feel free to, not feel free, but if everybody could mute their microphones for now, and then if there's questions, you can just unmute. I'm going to be on the other side. My son's next to the computer, so I won't be able to do the raise hand thing or the. You see that one if you open up the chat? You might be able to see chats. You can type chats in the side, and my son will read them to me. So, all right. So, and also, so everybody knows this is being recorded. So, you know, let's not be goofy about it. All right. So, hold on. I gotta get my glove on. Get my glove on. All right. Oh, so you might have to like pan up to me so I can talk.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna like pull up the trellis so I can the tractor so I can put the computer on it so I can see both of them.
All right, welcome everybody to my backyard. I hope you can see well. We don't know the positioning of the camera. So here we have the two beehives that I've been working in that we purchased for Minuteman, and I've been babysitting them. They've been doing awesome, and I thought it would be pretty cool, instead of me sending you guys the videos every week, is to try to do a live Q&A. What are you doing? Oh, no, don't move it because it'll be too loud. So we could do a live Q&A. I'm going to go through how I normally go through a hive. I've got two of them, and hopefully we can find you some, we can show you guys some fun stuff. So the way to start out, this right here is the entrance to the hive, and then like right behind the camera is the entrance to the other hive. It is a kind of a quiet day. The bees are flying in and out and around us. One of the things that my son and I are trying to be careful of is to not stand in the path of the in front of the bees, because the bees to the entrance to the hive, the bees actually have certain paths that they come in and out of to take, because the other bees have actually told them where the nectar source is or where the flowers are, and maybe we might be able to see that. That's called a Waggle Dance. Oh, easy there. Okay, so I have a smoker, and all it is it's just leaves and an old pine needles, and we use that to smoke the bees. So what that does is that takes their attention off of me being in the hive, and it makes them think that there's a forest fire going on, and they'll actually turn around and they'll start trying to eat the stores of honey to save as much honey as they could. If it was a real forest fire, then they would do that to leave and to start their hive somewhere else. So all I do is I start out, I give a little smoke to the hive, to the entrance. I'm going to open it up gently, smoke them a little bit. So when I'm working in the hives, it's really slow, methodical movements. Any quick, jerky movements or what? Can you see? Yeah. Oh, boy. Sorry. You might just have to hold it. Slow movements usually work best. So this hive here, if you guys can see, this hive here has an extra piece right here. That was an extension that I put on there. And what's pretty cool is you'll see that everybody can see the bees. Okay, you can see the bees have already started to add honeycomb to fill up the space. So the students were going to start studying a guy, I forget his first name, his last name is Langstroh, and he's the inventor of this style hive. And he spent hundreds of years, he spent tens of years, decades studying bees, and he figured out that bees like a space no bigger than 3/8 of an inch. Anything bigger than 3/8 of an inch, okay, they'll start making honeycomb and stuff like that. And you can kind of see right here that they've started making the honeycomb. You got to be easy with that. Okay, you can see they've started making the honeycomb. So 3/8 of an inch is called the bee space. We're going to take some of this off. So as I've spoken before in my what do you? Okay.
It's mirrored.
Okay.
I can't
Oh, I
really.
see. All right. So as I've spoken before, you know, the bees like to work from the middle to the outside of the hive and then from the bottom to the top. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this extra honeycomb. What are those tools called? So we're going to scrape this off because we really don't want them working in here. But you can see, if you get a close-up, so you can get a close-up of my tool, that's all pure honey. And then the honey that's oozing out of there. Aiden, you want some?
No.
So we actually we actually stick our fingers right in this honey right here and eat it. Honey is unprocessed, unrefined. It is, they literally squeeze it out of the honeycomb and that's it. So you can see the honey in here they've made. There's some pollen that they've stored. And what I'll do is I'll cut this off, but I'll leave this for them because they'll come back and they'll take it apart and use it again in other spots. So I'll just leave this here next to the entrance to their hive. So I also have this. I supplied them some pollen. This is a pollen pack from the New England beekeeping store up in Tingsboro. This is to help them jumpstart. The process of collecting nectar and stuff like that. This will help promote the queen to start laying eggs. So she'll decide that there's plenty of nectar on site and plenty of pollen on site, and she will start laying eggs. So I was in here last week and she was laying eggs already. So I'm just going to take some stuff out and make some room so that I can move the frames around. So this is the feeder that I've been using, but what you see on here is all of the extra pollen. Okay, this is the stuff that's fallen off of their legs as they've come into the hive. All right, so first frame we're going to look at, I'm going to try and get close so everybody can see. So lots of bees, lots of capped cells. So, and I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but inside the cells that are open, you can see little larvae. If I brush my hand over it, you can see little white larvae inside. So those are the ones that are growing. You can also see orange little dots here. That's where they've stored the pollen for the bees as food and as stores to start making honey. So I do a quick look here. This is all full right here, so this is really good. The queen is not on this. I can tell you right now, she's not on this one. So she, like I said, she lays in a pattern from the middle, working out, and that's the best way that you can find her. For those of you that have saw the video the last time, this is I bought a marked queen. So the queen will have actually have a blue dot on her back. When we find her, we'll point her out. So lots of bees here. So I flip it over, and I do the same. Just lightly brushing them off gets them to move away, and I can see like I said, there's lots and lots of larvae in there. So every look at these ones right here. So every 21 days, bees life cycle is 21 days. So I have to keep the population going. And if you look right here by my finger, there's actually one that's hatching. So what they do is they keep the cells open for about 15 days or so, and then the worker bees will cap it, and the larvae will start to form into a bee. And this one right here by my finger is hatching. So that's pretty cool. I can see 3 or 4 of them that are hatching right here. No queen on this one. So we'll keep looking. Oops. Go like that. So the same thing here. So all of the bees that you see here that are the worker bees are all female. Look right here by my finger. Here's the queen. See the blue dot? No, I won't. Can everybody see the blue dot? There's the queen. So she's out, and you can tell. I can tell here because she's laying in. She's actually laying in an upside down pattern, but that's fine. She's laying. So these are all worker bees, and all the worker bees are all female bees. The male bees are drones, are called drones, and they have no job in the hive except to mate with the queen or mate with the neighboring queen. The queen will actually go out on mating flights, and she will mate with the queen or the drones from another hive in the area. So it's pretty cool. You guys can see the queen here. And then the drones are a little bigger. I don't see any drones in here. Last week there was a lot of drones in here, so they must have left the hive. So we got a, like I said, we got a really nice laying pattern. She's doing a good job laying, and I can kind of, everybody can see that. So that's good. So yeah, queen. And they just started on this one. So they'll send bees ahead to clean up the cells, to start building the cells out. If you can see here, we've supplied them with this wax base. It's called foundation, and we've supplied it with them. And they've made the honeycomb circles for them to kind of help speed up the process. But if you look here in the middle where they're clustered, I don't know if the camera can tell, but it's actually drawn out, in a half an inch or so. So they're doing pretty good. They're a lot smaller of a colony than I expected. I was actually thinking that I was going to add frames to them. So right here that you see, look down at the thing. Right here that you see, there's these wooden frames. There's 10 of them per box.
I have a question.
You do. There's a question.
How can you tell the difference between drones and workers?
Okay, so if I can find a drone, I can show you. But the drones are much bigger. They have like bigger, beady eyeballs than the regular worker bees do, and they're really distinct. Like I said, I haven't seen any in here. As soon as I find one, either in this hive or the other hive, I'll point it out.
Quick question. I accidentally joined late. Are these the beehives outside of Minuteman?
So they are, I am babysitting them at my house.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Minuteman bees. You don't see the Minuteman logo on them? I mean, it's right there.
I put little stickers on them.
Yes, so these are Minuteman bees. They come from 10 district towns, and they're doing good. We got a drone right here. Oh, no, that's not working. Okay. Any questions as I go? You can unmute yourselves and fire them out. All right. So as I was saying, they've been the last time I was in here, they were moving pretty fast, and they kind of slowed down, which is fine, which is no big deal. But we don't want the bees to swarm. So what happens is if they feel like they're too crowded in there and they're running out of space, then they will actually leave and go into the tree and spend like the day in the tree in a swarm protecting the queen, and they send out scout bees to go find another place to live. So we obviously don't want that to happen, because although you can catch a swarm, you know, you don't want them to leave. So what you do is you keep adding layers of boxes, and I'll show them over here. So I have extra boxes ready to go, and there's a couple more sitting out here that when they get to about the 6th, 7th, or 8th frame working out, then we'll put the box. I'll put the box in. Put the box on top. So, like I said, this is good. Here's the drone right here. I see a fat drone. So right here by my finger is a drone. Sorry. No, you know what? Okay, I got it. Okay, so that's a drone, much bigger than the other bees, if you can see, and the eyeballs have more of the like spaceship helmet kind of look. So that's the way to tell them, and they're big and fat, and that's all they do is go around the hive and eat. So that's hive number 1. So what I would say. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to feed them. So this feeder just sits in here just like the rest of the. I'm going to move it away. Just like the rest of the frames, and I fill it with a sugar syrup, like a simple syrup. 1 part. I usually do like a gallon of water and 5 pounds of sugar, and heat it up on the stove. Where is that? It's back here.
Me.
So, I made this the other day, so it's not warm anymore. But all I do is I fill this up, and this helps supply food to them to help keep them going and keep them collecting sugar and nectar and stuff like that to make honey. Gives them a little jump start. So fill that up. So that's it for this hive. So we'll move to the next hive. Let me put this stuff back. I'm going to do this. The pollen pack back. Put the inner cover on. And the outer cover. All right. Grab my stuff.
Hey, Pete, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm a little unclear about the extension you put on the top of the box.
Oh, so all that does is that gives them room, right? This extension that's unpainted. So all that does is that gives them room. So I have this pollen pack. Turn the camera to me. I have this pollen pack, and all that does is it gives me room to put it in here and allow the bees to go take care of it. I do not have one on the next hive over here because I only had one that I built. So you'll see that like the pollen pack is smashed on the roof of that one. So that's the only reason.
All right.
I also
Thank
used
you.
this before I bought these plastic feeders. I would take a Ziploc bag. I would take a gallon Ziploc bag, and I would fill it with the sugar syrup and lay it here on the bottom, and then on the top, I mean, and then take an X and X it and make holes in it. I went away from that because I drowned too many bees the last time. Not in these hives, not in Minuteman hives. So the inner cover is, it does 2 things. It it's kind of offset where it makes one side deeper than the other. So what it does is it allows air circulation to, it creates an air gap between the two to allow air circulation. We don't do anything, you don't do anything to the hives during the summer or the winter. The bees actually maintain the temperature of it. And believe it or not, in the dead of winter, the inside of the hive will still be about 75, 80 degrees inside. And during the winter, they'll do the same thing. The bees will air condition it and cool it off. All right, so we're gonna give us a second. We're gonna move hives.
So I can get
That's it for cord. If you want to pull the computer around, everybody.
No, I'm fine.
You sure?
It's just so hard because it's mirrored. So
My aspiring photographer. Okay, so little smoke. So, Mr. Regan, this is the other pollen pack and the other one. The bees are still active, but it's all smashed on the bottom of it. So same thing in this one. I have the feeder, and I think that I always thought that this one was a stronger hive, and it looks like it's a little stronger. So I won't feed them. Take a couple out just to make room. They have not started these frames yet. A couple of random ones on there, but they have not started anything on these frames. All right, so this one has the same thing. So, you know, I can see the nectar and the larvae in there. I also see a lot more drone bees. So if you guys, those of you that watched the videos prior, if you remember, this hive requeened itself. So what happened was they sent me they had marked the queen just like the other one with the blue dot. And I was in and I let the queen go and she started doing her thing. And then I came back like 3 or 4 days later and we just happened to stumble on a different queen in here. She was unmarked. She had no markings on her. So there's one of two things happened. My theory is that there were two, that the second queen was accidentally stuck in with the rest of the bees, and the hive decided to split, and they sent the other queen and half the bees away, or one queen fought the other queen and the unmarked queen won. So so this is something that's pretty interesting. So there are drones in here. There are a little more drones in here. And if you see here, this is a cell that's bigger than the others. So that's a drone cell. So they will actually, the queen actually determines when she lays an egg, the sex of the bee. And she will lay, depending on how the hive is surviving, she will lay some male bees in there, some drone bees in there, so that they can go out and they can, they can mate with the other bees, the other queens in the area. So this one's pretty good. I do not see the queen, but you can see right here in the middle and actually up here in the top by my finger, those cells are full of honey.
Oh,
See it?
wow.
Right up on the top corner, up on that
No,
side.
I do.
Yeah, so those are full of honey. We're going to move this one out of the way. The goal every single time is to try to find the queen. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. If you don't find the queen, it's not the end of the world. As long as she has a, you can tell the laying pattern in there, and you can find young, medium, and old larvae in the cells. You can actually see the eggs. They're like the size of a very small grain of rice. But there are more drones in here. Let's see the queen. So I want everybody to look right here by my finger, and there's a bee in the middle, and it's waggling back and forth. So that's called a waggle dance. So what that bee is doing is that bee is actually telling the rest of the bees how to get to the honey source or the nectar source that she just found. So it's pretty amazing. They do it. They're really smart. They do it with the direction. Everything is in the direction of the sun. So the angle that the bee is actually doing this correlates with the angle of the sun, so that the other bees can go out and find the source. So it's pretty cool. You can see 2 or 3 of them here doing the waggle dance, and all the other bees are kind of standing around watching. So it's pretty neat. I was hoping that we were going to get to see that. So, and it's hard to tell in this, but they also have pockets on their legs where they store the pollen. And I'm sure everybody's seen like bees that are on their flowers and stuff like that have big yellow pockets, but a lot of these bees have them, so which is really good. So they're going out and they're finding stuff. So that's cool. That one is really cool.
Yeah,
See
I
if I can zoom in on that one, because that one's got a lot to say. So I don't know if everybody can see that waggle dance. Hold on, you're making it jumpy. Look on the screen and see if you can see it. Can we see the waggle dance?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, this bee right here by my finger. It's pretty cool. It keeps going in this direction here to tell everybody, and it's amazing to watch because it's the same direction, the same exact angle every single time. That's pretty neat.
Hey, Pete,
Yeah.
do you confuse them if you move that tray around? Like the orientation of the tray starts moving, so the bees have to adjust to that?
I don't think so. I was thinking the same thing as I was talking about it. My guess is it's the from the entrance to the hive. So the entrance to the hive doesn't move, because they will still, even here for the most part, they still are coming in and out of the little slot in the hive, at the bottom of the hive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my guess. All right, still have not found the queen. She's, like I said, she's harder to find in this one. This is the next frame. I bet you she's in here, either this one side or the other side. Well, so I have a pattern. I have the pattern here in the middle, and then I have lots of honey on the outside. So, any other questions while I search for the queen?
Hey Pete, have you had any issues with animals getting into the hives, or are you seeing any parasites?
I have not. I have not had issues with any. I have a friend of mine who was in the yeah, knock on wood. I have a friend of mine who has hives out in Carlisle, and he had to put straps around them to strap them in because bears got into them. I, knock on wood again, have not had any bears or other animals around here. I do have coyotes and fox in the area. I think they're more interested in the chickens than the bees. But I did find the queen as we were talking. So the queen's right here by my finger. She is, like I said, she's the biggest one. She's unmarked. So that other one that had a blue markings, I don't know where that one went, but she's in here and she's laying. And I have not seen any parasites yet. And I know that you guys that were talking about the, you guys that all the students that were dealing with the colony collapse disorder case study that we talked about when we were back in school. One of the things that they said was that it was a thought that there was a lot of Varroa mites. So I have not seen any Varroa mites in here. They're a tiny little parasite, and they actually, it doesn't even look like you're pointing at me. They don't have, they latch onto the drone bees. So because this hive has more drones in it, I would be more concerned about Varroa mites in this hive, but I haven't seen any yet. So I think so let's see, I haven't checked these ones. So I just like to check to see the pattern. This one is on the outskirts of where the queen was, and again you can see that this one they're using to store the pollen and the honey. So this is a good picture. You can see if the picture comes out, you can see the different colors of honey, or I'm sorry, different colors of pollen that they have collected.
Yeah.
Some of the darker stuff is probably from that pollen pack. Other stuff, they're out collecting things in bloom. So I would say that the raspberries have just passed their bloom. I still have trees around me that still are budding. And just as a recent, I had my sugar maples, which are right behind the camera. They were really late this year, and in blooming, and so I still have some stuff around the yard. They're probably also collecting the pollen that everybody sees that's green on the cars. That's from the pines, as well as some of the plants out. Everybody's got plants out now. Tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and stuff like that are starting to get buds on them as well. So we'll be expecting the bees to start hitting those to start getting some fruit going. So that's you checking the chat board.
I keep the.
I'm glad it was cloudy today because they're a little less active than they would be normally. But here you can see there's another bee over here somewhere I just saw doing the waggle dance. Telling the other bees where the nectar is.
Oh, I see a couple.
Yeah, do you see it? Yes, good.
There's a couple more.
It's fun to watch them up close. So, all right, so the hives are in good shape.
Pete, how often do you check them?
So I do them about once a week. I think I did. I waited till today, so I haven't checked them. I checked them last Monday. I was, like I said, I was getting a little nervous because I hadn't been out there. I thought that they were going to swarm because I originally thought that they were. The colony was growing very fast, so I was getting a little nervous. So I would actually come out here and just kind of stand by the hive to make sure that there was still enough activity where, they didn't swarm on me. But like once a week.
Yes, now with me. But how about I make a path so we can visit each other?
Any other questions?
Oh, that's a stepping. Oh, I might have.
So I think I am gonna. Oh, I think I am going to try to feed this one. I don't have any syrup made up. I'll probably just go in the house and make up some and let it cool and put it out here later today. But the more you feed them, the more you stimulate the egg laying. So you're not harming them by feeding them. They'll still go out and forage, but so what's that frame too? Was that one of the extras?
Yeah, I
It had 10
believe.
plus 2.
'Cause I think I tried to show it, but
Oh, okay.
I don't think it worked out.
All right. Well, you said just put the hive back slowly, carefully. All right. Are there any other questions?
Thank you. It's not a job I would like to have, but thank you for sharing with us.
You need to come back in September and you can be our special guest. We have a suit just for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks. That was awesome.
Sure, no problem. No problem.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, so that's it. That's a day in the life of me on my backyard bees. And,
Thanks, Pete. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And like I said, if there's any other questions, that's it. Everybody's free to go. Did we take attendance, teachers?
I did.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Thank you,
Everybody's
Mr.
getting
Kelleher.
great for that. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Excellent. Thanks, Pete. Can't
No
wait till
problem.
next year.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye. Wait, nope, that's the wrong button.